Hi everyone, it's Marisha and welcome to my creative diary. Today is day 3 of my 2020 holiday card series. The products featured in today's video are honeybee stamps, snowfall stencil background, sentiment banners, winter cuts die and stamp set, and finally, the Greeting Farms Holiday Anya. Let's get started. Using my Misty and Lawn Fawn's Black Licorice ink, I'm going to go ahead and ink up my stamp. And I'm going to press it down onto this 110-pound cardstock by Recollections. I'm just giving it a good rub just to make sure that the ink is pressed well and I have a good stamped image. I'm going to begin coloring by using Arteza's Everblend art markers. I'm going to start coloring her skirt, and I am using A546, A556, and A5959. And all of the markers that I'm using throughout the coloring of Anya will be listed down below in the left-hand corner. I am starting to color her skirt first, and I am using A5959. And then I am following up with A546 to start the shading and blending of colors. I am new to this process of blending and shading and learning this process of, coloring with markers, and I am having a blast just learning the different techniques of coloring from darkest to lightest and lightest to darkest. I'm just really enjoying myself. Next, I'm going to bring in A556 and continue the blending of my colors. Now, during this journey of me learning how to blend and color, I have been admiring and would like to give kudos to Christy Gets Crafty. I love her technique and how she takes her time to explain how she's coloring and everything. She is so inspiring. If you get a chance, please check out her YouTube channel. Again, her handle is Christy Gets Crafty. I love her videos. She's awesome. Now I am finally finishing up this skirt to get the shade that I'm looking for by going back over it one more time with A546. If you're still with me, I thank you so much for your patience. Now I'm going to move on and start coloring her blouse. This is really easy. I'm using A487. Just to add that right there. And she didn't have sleeves, so I decided to give her some. So I just went ahead and just colored them right on in. And I'm going to use this same color on her hair bow. So I'm going right on up there to start coloring that in as well. Now I'm going to bring in A403 just to add a little bit of shading to her hair bow. Now that I'm done with that, I am going to begin coloring her scarf. I am bringing in A414 and I'm going to color every other block using this color. Next, I am bringing in A411 to begin shading and blending this color. Next, I am bringing in A415 to add to the blend of these two colors. Finally, I am going back to A414 just to complete the blend of the colors together. Next up, we're going to color the boots. So I'm using A151. And guys, I went back and forth about these boots. At first, I was like, okay, I'm going to give her gray boots with her outfit. So I went ahead and started blending A155. And I was just going back and forth about it. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to go and just color them black. And then when I was done, I was like, I should have kept them gray. But hey, it happens. Sometimes you'll start creating and you'll go back and forth and then you'll change your mind. But it's okay because I'm going to make a few more of these cards. So the next card will be gray. Next up, I'm going to add just a little hint of color to the white blocks on her scarf. So I decided to bring in A9425. Using the same marker of A9425, I'm going to begin coloring her face, her ears, and her hands. I am now bringing in A2497 to begin the blending process of her face. Now I'm bringing back in A9425 to continue blending the colors together. Now I'm going to bring in A487 to give her some little rosy cheeks. And then I'm going to blend that in with A9425 just to lighten it up just a little bit. Now it's time to get started on the hair. Now, guys, I do not know how to flick and do different techniques with the hair. I am still learning and I am not a color expert, but I am loving the process of shading. So guess what? That's what I'm going to do for her hair. I'm just going to shade it in. So I'm using A2492 to start with the first color. And I wanted her hair to be kind of like a reddish brown color. So then I ended up bringing in A2494 to begin the shadow and begin the process of blending these two colors together. Now I'm bringing back in A2492 to finish up the blending of the two colors. So I am almost done. And I encourage you that if you have a goal or something that you are wanting to do, I encourage you to go for it. Do not let nothing stop you. A lot of times we will doubt ourselves and everything. Don't do that. Just go forth and do it. Finally, I am done with the hair. I am adding the outline to the hair bow. I think it turned out pretty good. Now I'm at the end of the coloring stage. I am going to color the candy cane. So I am bringing in A410 and I'm going to color every other block. Then I'm going to go to A411 and begin using that marker just to add the shading. And then I'm going to go back to A410 just to blend the colors together. Now I'm going to add some little accents to my image, and I'm bringing in my jelly roll, and I'm just going to add some little accents to her skirt, her boots, her scarf, and her hair. Oh, and I can't forget the candy cane. Ta-da! She's done. Now I'm going to happy cut my image out, and I'm going to move on to the next step so we can get this card completed. Next up, I am bringing in Tim Holtz Distressed Ink, and this color is Speckled Egg, and I'm going to use my blending brush just to lightly apply the ink. And as you'll notice, I was a little heavy towards the center, and then as I began to work my way towards the edges, I lightened it up just a little bit. All done. Next, off camera, I went ahead and cut out my sentiment and the shadow for my sentiment. So I'm going to stack these four together just to add a little bit of dimension using my Ultra Bond adhesive glue. Now that little dot that you're seeing on one of the shadows, that is just the dot to the eye in winter. I didn't want to lose it, so I went ahead and glued it on there. Now that I'm done stacking my shadow, I'm going to go ahead and add my winter sentiment, and I will be done. Now it's time to bring in my card base and the panels that will be adhered to my card base. So I'm bringing in 110-pound cardstock by Recollections, which is cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The striped paper by My Favorite Things. The red metallic paper is also by Recollections. And then, of course, my custom snowflake backdrop. So I'm using my Ultra Bond adhesive glue just to begin stacking the panel to my card base. Now that I'm adding my final panel to my card base, I'm going to allow this to dry off camera, and to prevent warping, I'm just going to place an acrylic block on top. Now that my card base is ready, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the other elements so I can go ahead and complete this card. Now off camera, I went ahead and heat embossed wishes on a black sentiment banner strip. And as you see, I'm just lining everything up just to make sure that it is to my liking. And once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive glue to my winter sentiment and then place that on the bottom. I'm just lining this up, and then I'm going to press it down just to make sure that it is adhered correctly. Now I'm going to bring in these foam adhesive strips that I purchased from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to add them to the back of Anya, the candy cane, and my Wishes sentiment strip. Now this is just to add a little bit of dimension to them because I wanted this to be a dimensional card. Ta-da! This card is technically done, but guys, I like to give you options. So you can either leave the card as is, Or you can take it a step further, which I'm about to show you, and add sequins to it. Now that I'm done adding the sequins, I wanted to give you one more option that you can add to this card, and that is by adding stitching to your border by using a jelly roll pen. And that's it. I really do love how this card turned out. And I want to thank you so much for tuning in on today. All of the information regarding the products featured in this video will be listed below. Don't forget to subscribe, click the thumbs up button and the notification bell. And feel free to check out my blog at thediaryofbellerose.com. Until next time, please take care.